Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing all the latest highlights from the Bitcoin Vegas conference going on right now. Also, the latest Bitcoin technical analysis and breaking news. Metaplanet issues $50 million in new debt to buy more Bitcoin. Also, crypto czar Sachs says the U.S. could possibly acquire more Bitcoin. Oh, it's going down. Trump supports the bill to buy 1 million BTC, according to the latest from Senator Cynthia Lummis. Also, Ramsawani Strive raises $750 million for alpha generating Bitcoin buy strategy. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin reaching 1 to 1.5 million this particular cycle with the USA on board, according to Bitcoin OG Adam Back. Also, major news announced officially today. GameStop confirmed their first Bitcoin purchase of 4,710 BTC. Why so bearish, GameStop? We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's live stream. If you are new to the channel, important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe, ring that bell, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode 2005. I'm your host, JV. It's May 28th. 2025, day 2 of the infamous Vegas conference. Today, a lot of the big names have already hit the stage, including JD Vance, and we will be covering some of what's going on, obviously, out there in Vegas. But what goes down in Vegas stays in Vegas. But I will just give you a glimpse of what you're missing out on, of course, and all the latest bitty news as we do each and every day. But anyways, let's kick this mofo off with our market watch as we do each and every day, pulling up Coin 360, and you can see Bitcoin a bit of a pullback. Yesterday we did hit 110 again. Today we're 107. A lot of volatility. Bitcoin's down 2.6%. Ether down 2.6%. Ironic enough, as the bulk of the market has corrected and in the red, with XRP down 4% on the day. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap is currently chillaxing today at 3.38 trillion. The all-time high is 3.75 trillion. We're not too far off. The Bitcoin market cap today is 2.127 trillion. We have 116 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance coming in at a 62.9%, with the Ether dominance at 9.4%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. Toncoin, a lead in the pack, up 13%, followed by SPX up 9%, followed by Unisted Leo up 2%, as the bulk of the market is correcting and in the red. As you can see, excuse me, on crypto bubbles. Let me get some water in here. That was weird. It was like I had a little mini burp, but like some coffee came up and it was pretty gross. So I had to wash that baby back down. But you got to do what you got to do when you're doing the live stream. Anything can happen. But you can see the bulk of the market, 95% in the red on the day. Zooming out for the weekly, I dare say 70-30 red over green. And for the month, we're mostly in the green, which is good. I'd say 85-15 green over red. And checking out the infamous Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today we're 71 greed, yesterday 74, last week at 70, and last month of 54, which is neutral. And checking out the time chain calendar. We have 151,246 blocks until halving 2028. And as of today, on block number 898,754, fast approaching block number 900,000. And before you know it, we'll be at the infamous block 1.1 million. Where will the biddy price be at that time? Will we be at 1.1 million per coin? You let me know your thoughts. And as of today, you can exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 934 sats. So you know what to do, gentlemen. Pick up the sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. And for today, we're not going to use other analysts, because what do they know? What do they think? They're Miss Cleo with the magic 8 ball or something? Crystal ball, whatever type of blue balls they're using nowadays to do their divination. I dare say, let's just pull up the live charts and hit it off the way it should be done. The proper way. And speaking of proper, shout out Conor McGregor, strategic biddy reserve for the country of Ireland. Let's do it proper, brother. And with that being shared, as you can see, we're hovering at around 107 at the time of the live stream. Live chart action, Jackson satisfaction, and as of yesterday, some targets appeared. One was 120. As of today, it lowered a little. No 120 target on the 1 hour, but we still have that sexy 116 bullish pennant. And there's one just around it at, it looks like 116.4, as you can see on your screen. We also have a bull scenario below that in the green at 112.4, which would be price discovery. The current all-time high was achieved, I believe it was May 22nd, which was literally 6 days ago, and is currently 112. So once we surpass 112, we re-enter price discovery, pre-low biddy going up forever, Laura. And if you don't know, do your research, do some homework, and maybe one day you'll know. And zooming out from there, we'll check out the 4 hour and see how we looking. Rising wedgie, the only wedgie I approve of. Bullish pennant formation sensation. Green scenario, bullish target, bullish pennant at 116.3. I repeat, 116.3 in play. Also, that 40x leverage trader with the multi-billion-dollar long, he is calling for 119 this week as well. So we'll see if we do rise. I mean, anything's possible. A lot of bullish momentum in the market, more so than ever before, especially with the institutional FOMO, like a motherfucking mofo, if you know what I'm saying. Yahtzee, let's get it. And as you can see, also a rising wedgie on the daily chart. You can see we've been trading sideways past few days. No particular bull targets in play on the daily, like we have in the 1 hour and the 4 hour, sitting at 116. But zooming it out a bit further, that's when we're going to see the cup and handle target sitting at, I believe it's 124. Yep. Sexy 124 target, also a rising wedge. Now, the significance of this chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green consecutive candles. I dare say, I don't think we've ever had 8 green candles on the weekly chart in Bitcoin history. Correct me if I'm wrong, I just don't recall ever seeing it like that. So this bullish momentum is unprecedented. Next leg up in play. This is Q2 of 2025, the year preceding the halving, which occurred in April of 2024, which tells us we have another 5 months or so, at least, of pure bullishness. And if things are to change and we have an extended cycle, there's no telling. We can just continuously hit new all-time highs, including what would normally be perceived as the bear after this particular year, which is typically the last year of the bull. However, we shall soon see how things play out. You guys let me know your thoughts. And zooming out from the weekly, we take a quick look at a monthly. And the monthly says it's going up forever, JV. The month of April, bullish green close. We just have 3 more days to go here for the month of May. And we already surpassed the green candle from last month. So as long as things maintain where they're at or go above, it's going to be a very healthy monthly close, continuing that bullish momentum. Yeah, I mean, so let me know where you feel the pretty little bitty. Likely take us next. Here's the latest from Metaplanet. Now we broke down the TA, aka astrology for the broskies. Next up, you should be able to read headline on screen. Metaplanet issues 50 milli in a new debt to buy more of the biddy. That's right, they're buying more of the biddy. Japanese investment company Metaplanet raised 50 mil through a private placement of the zero interest bonds as part of the strategy to increase the biddy exposure. In the announcement shared today, the company said it was raising 50 milli through the bonds. James bond, that is. The bonds are issued in 1.25 million denominations and carry no interest. Interesting. Investors will not receive regular payments, and with any potential profit expected to come from the bond's redemption value, Evo Fund, a Cayman Islands-based investment firm, will be the sole bondholder. The investment company has been Metaplanet's primary backer for the Bitcoin acquisition strategy, subscribing to multiple rounds of Metaplanet zero-interest bonds, providing capital for the Bitcoin buys. The bonds are unsecured and not guaranteed with neither a bond administrator nor collateral. This reflects the high degree of trust between the two companies. Also shows confidence in Bitcoin's long-term outlooks as Metaplanet continues its increase of holdings. And their personal goal, I believe, was 5,000 Bitcoin before the end of this year. And did they say 21,000 Bitcoin by the end of next year, which is obviously 2026. Metaplanet said it expects the issuance to have the minimal impact on the 2025 financial results, though it will disclose further development if needed. Metaplanet's push into the Bitcoin highlights the growing trend amongst companies seeking the alternative to the fiat-based treasury strategies. The move follows Metaplanet's second biggest Bitcoin purchase of all time, scooping up over 1,000 Bitcoin worth 100 million. This pushed the company to Bitcoin holdings of 78. Wow. So they already have 7,800 BTC. So I think they already achieved that goal. Or actually, let me correct that. I think their goal for this year then makes more sense to be 10,000 Bitcoin and next year 21,000. Okay, that makes sense. And according to the Bitcoin treasuries, Metaplanet's up nearly 20% on its Bitcoin investment, so they're doing quite well. Metaplanet is a Bitcoin strategy, also is given the stock price a boost. 10x Research reported Metaplanet stock trades as if it were Bitcoin 5 times its actual price. The research company said investors in the company are dramatically overpaying for their Bitcoin exposure. Now, with the rise of Bitcoin treasury companies, stock prices getting Bitcoin exposure to corporate wrappers has attracted criticism from well-known investor Jim Chanos at the Sohn Investment Conference in New York. He said he's selling strategy stock to buy Bitcoin. He also said the move assumes investors are overpaying for exposure through strategy and others that follow the blueprint. Now, the investors' move assumes that purchasing Bitcoin directly would be more profitable than purchasing stocks for indirect Bitcoin exposure. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, I'm old school. I much rather just hold on to the underlying asset versus get exposure to it through stocks. But I'm old school. I guess you guys let me know your thoughts and we'll dive deeper into the latest. And let me know regarding, and I covered it in great detail yesterday, but Saylor did announce that he is not going to be sharing proof of reserves or the Bitcoin. Obviously, he's not going to be sharing the Bitcoin address of where they're allegedly holding their roughly 600,000 Bitcoin treasure trove fortune. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think they should show it? Do you think it is a security risk? He's claiming it is, but if you're a true Bitcoin OG, you realize it is not a security risk whatsoever, but it may be risky on the future of what he's planning to do, and you don't want people to follow. You don't want all the attention. And I could understand from that, but he claims it's too dangerous. It's not safe. Let me know your thoughts. I'll read your comments out loud. Next story regarding the crypto czar. And that's right, Mr. David Sachs. Headline here reads, Crypto czar Sachs says the U.S. could possibly acquire more Bitcoin. Possibly. No, we will acquire more of the bitty. That's right. White House AI and crypto czar, Mr. Sachs, says the U.S. can buy more Bitcoin if the government can fund the purchase in a budget-neutral way. And there's infinite ways to do that without a tax or adding the growing national debt. And two of the most obvious ways, in my opinion, before I even read into the story, trade your gold reserves and make Peter Schiff throw a temper tantrum. I'm just saying, why not? Especially during the conference, make an announcement. We're selling our gold reserves, whatever is really left at Mount Gox, and we're just trading it for the hardest apex predator who wants, the inferior precious metal. It's outdated. Ask the Schiffinator. Even Peter Schiff knows that. But alternative way, just print money out of thin air. What if all the countries and central banks just said, fuck it, we're just going to print money out of thin air and trade it for Bitcoin? Suckers. Why not? And those are two budget neutral ways to do it, is it not? And then Michael Saylor has already delivered a report to the U.S. government with infinite ways we can do that. So you already know. But Sachs told Gemini co-founders Cameron and Tyler during the fireside chat that while we can't promise anything, a pathway does exist. Well, of course the pathway exists and will always exist. And there's a famous quote, where there is a will, there is a way. So if the U.S. government has a genuine will to acquire Bitcoin, they're going to acquire Bitcoin. I just hope that genuine will is stacking 10 million of the bitty. Why not? You know what I mean? The government could be the employee of the month. Screw Saylor. I'm just saying. However, it would require convincing Secretary Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, or Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, to okay the buy. That's going to be easy peasy because Howard Lutnick is a Bitcoin bull. He personally said in an interview with Pompliano that he has hundreds of millions worth of Bitcoin, which will soon be billions, and he is a billionaire. So why would they say no? So maybe by finding money from some of the other programs that's not using it, yeah, they waste money on virtually all the retarded things and woke culture things they've been funding. For one example, stop funding the Ukraine. We could have put hundreds of billions of dollars into Bitcoin and had a strategic reserve that would blow the minds of these other countries. But yeah, I digress. The question is, can we get either the Treasury Department or the Commerce Department to get excited about that? Because if they do, and they can figure out how to fund it, they actually do have presidential authorization. Respect my authority. The March 6th executive order authorizing creation of the crypto reserve states that it will hold any Bitcoin forfeited as part of the criminal or civil asset forfeiture. Hopefully they learned the lesson from Germany dumping their Bitcoin when it was like around 50,000, losing out on billions of dollars like idiots months later. Sachs noted part of the executive order allows government to purchase more if it's done in a budget neutral way. That's the key word. And like I said, there's all sorts of methods to do that. Specifically, if either Commerce Department or the Treasury can figure out how to fund it without adding to the debt, then they're allowed to create those programs. The U.S. holds approximately 198,000 Bitcoin. There's never been a proof of reserves for that, so this is kind of speculation. And also, according to Samson Mao, 100,000, which is virtually half of that stockpile, already belongs to the exchange Bitfinex. So it's not really the U.S. government. So they need to get on the ball and start stacking some Bitcoin before these other countries put them to shame. Just saying. Bitcoin game theory in full effect. Most of the holdings came from 2 seizures connected to the online marketplace Silk Road, one in November of 2020 that netted 69,000 of the Biddy, and another in March of 2022 saw authorities seize 51,000 Biddy. The U.S. also seized 94,000. Yes, exactly. They seized 94,000 Bitcoin from the Bitfinex hacker, which means it doesn't belong to the US, but it belongs to Bitfinex. After the authorities hacked into the cloud storage account, and like idiots, they had their private keys in a cloud storage. Billions and billions worth of the Bitcoin. Can't make this shit up. And it was actually collected from over 2,000 of the crypto wallets. In January, the U.S. Department of Justice received the green light to sell 198,000 Bitcoin. Now, that makes no sense, because if 98,000 or so belong to Bitfinex, how are they even getting a green light to sell 198,000? Does that make sense? So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is the U.S. is falling behind because there's other countries that already have more Bitcoin than the U.S. That's right, such as North Korea, which we don't even talk about enough. But there's some hacking group called the Lazarus Group, and they potentially have over 200,000 Bitcoin. So Trump, what are we going to do about that? You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Trump supports the bill to buy 1 million of the BTC, according to Cynthia Lummis. That's our next story of the day. Shout out to the Nippinator. Keeping it gay, which means happy. Happy days, Nippinator. That's all I'm saying. Not the Diddy gay, but that other type of gay, the happy gay. The good vibes. Next story of the day, the latest regarding Cynthia Lummis, obviously, and the Trumpster. Headline reads, Trump supports the bill to buy 1 million of the Biddy. I dare say 1 million is child's play. As the superpower of the world, anything less than 5 million Bitcoin, I would deem blasphemous. I mean, Michael Saylor already has 3% of the supply. Larry Fink already has 3% of the supply. You're going to have less Bitcoin than them because they're eventually going to have 5-10% of the supply. Just saying. But anyways, the Trumpster supports the Bitcoin Act and has a team of the experts at the White House. Let's rename it to the Orange House. We're going to roll out the landmark digital asset legislation in the coming weeks, according to Ms. Lummis. Speaking at the Biddy conference, Las Vegas, Nevada, Lummis said she's bringing the Bitcoin Act to the attention of the American people of the world, adding Trump supports the bill. Well, of course, you can't short you, dork. We can't afford that. And in March, Lummis reintroduced the Biddy Act, a landmark legislation directing the U.S. government to acquire 1 million of the Biddy over 5 years. The acquisitions would be financed using existing funds with the Federal Reserve System and the Treasury. The Trump administration has reiterated the need to use the budget-neutral ways, which there are plenty of, to acquire Bitcoin without burdening the taxpayers. And I like it. Why charge the taxpayers anything? We already been paying for all this bullshit proxy wars. You've been stealing our money. Instead of fixing the roads, we've been sending it overseas. And I dare say we've been treating the illegal aliens better than our own citizens and veterans. Can I get an amen? But anyways, you can see the breaking news. Senator Lummis says President Trump supports the bill to buy 1 million of the Biddy. This is massive. That's right, no Diddy. Lummis said the Trump administration has a team working on digital asset issues, including legislation on stablecoins. And more recently, they just passed that Stablecoin Act that was headed by Cynthia. And the market structure for the Biddy Reserve, they will probably roll that out. In that order, the Senate Banking Committee passed the stablecoin bill out of the committee, adding the following: we're getting close to being ready to have it on the floor, Mom Spaghetti. We have worked for untold hours with the minority party to satisfy them, and we should be voting on it for the weeks before we get back from the break. Meanwhile, the White House seems to be in alignment with Cynthia Lummis. Last week, the Trump top crypto advisor, Mr. David Sachs, said the genius stablecoin bill was going to pass, come on, pass, pass the Senate with bipartisan support after clearing the key procedural vote, and that was official. May 19th. Genius refers to the guiding and establishing national innovation for the U.S. Stablecoin Act, possibly the most comprehensive federal push to establish the legal framework for the dollar-pegged stablecoins. Stablecoins have become one of the most prominent use cases for the blockchain, with some industry advocates arguing that they could help extend the U.S. dollar's dominance as the global reserve currency. Yay. Collateralized dollar-backed stables like Tether's USDT and Circle's USDC account for more than 85% of the $250 billion nascent market, meaning this market is going to grow massively. You ain't seen nothing yet, but yeah, Tether's leading the charge by far. Their market cap, last I checked, was north of $150 billion. I also want to throw out there that Circle USDC is a part of the lizard folk and cannot be trusted. I do not trust that stablecoin provider, and they are enemies of Bitcoin, I know, because I've done my research. Meanwhile, Tether USDT supports Bitcoin. They have Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and they're Bitcoin advocates. So support stablecoins like Tether. Do not support Circle USDC. In fact, I dare say boycott them mofos. They deserve it. Yeah, headline reads, Bitcoin price will reach 130 or even as high as 1.5 million potentially this cycle, according to the OGs and the top bulls. So I want to break this baby down for you, and then we'll transition into the latest news coming from the GameStop. And again, the current all-time high is 112, which was achieved literally on the 22nd, a few days back. So yeah, you should be able to see on your screen here. Blockstream CEO Adam Back said in November, Bitcoin could break 1 million this cycle if the U.S. follows through with plans to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And guess what? It's already official. In March, the White House did just that, though it has yet to be codified into the law by Congress. So we're getting closer and closer. Baby steps. The Bitcoin Reserve Act treats the world's first blockchain-based crypto as a digital gold-style reserve asset using coins seized from criminal cases. And quoting the OG back from a post he shared on November 18th of 2024, which you should be able to see here. If the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve happens, prepare for seven-figure Bitcoin this cycle. The market is skeptical on meaningful follow-through for now, so that it is not all priced in. That's right. You ain't seen none yet. U.S. states have started laying the groundwork. New Hampshire broke the ice May 6th, signing the Bitcoin Reserve Bill into law. Later in the month, Texas lawmakers advanced a bill to establish strategic crypto reserve backed by Governor Abbott. Shout out to the Abbott of the Shaolin Temple as well. And Back gave a 2025 price target of a few $100,000, citing renewed retail demand once roughly 16 billion FTX bankruptcy repayments re-enter the market. He added that he is confident that many of those investors will cycle back into the crypto market to fuel the next rally. We also have another analyst, Geoff Kendrick, who is the head of Standard Chartered, and FYI, the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered Bank is none other than BlackRock. They're saying Bitcoin's en route to $200,000 by year's end, fueled by the rise of stablecoins. And you already know stablecoins have been on the rise. We touched upon that in our previous story. Also, we have Mike Novogratz eyeing Bitcoin's next price in the discovery range. Price discovery is currently above 112, which is the current all-time high. His modest forecast is ranging from 130 to 150,000, citing the strong institutional flows as I coin institutional FOMO like a mofo. Also, the weaker dollar and the growing demand of the digital assets is a key driver. So let me know if you agree or disagree with Mr. Novogratz. Also, we have the one and only Cathie Wood. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And the wood was actually the biddy, and it happened to be Cathie Wood. Well, here you have it. The CEO and Chief Investment Officer of ARK Invest set her bull forecast for 1.5 million. That's before she upped it to as high as 2.8 million, which we recently covered on the pod. And if you don't know, now you know. That's because we're even more bullish than when she initially made that forecast. Then we have Rich Dad, Mr. Kiyosaki, quoting him here, Bitcoin a crash. Bitcoin is stalled short of 100 G's. That means Bitcoin may crash to 60. And this was posted back on December 1st, 2024, just FYI. If and when that happens, I will not sell. Bitcoin will be having a sale. I will buy more. I predict Bitcoin to settle at around 250 this year. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Kiyosaki. At this stage of the bidding process, price is not as important as how many Bitcoin you acquire. I want more of the biddy. Take care. And then, of course, we have Arthur Hayes Just Blaze, who was just recently speaking on stage at the Bitcoin event a few hours ago. He's calling for 250,000 before the end of the year if the Fed pivots to QE, which is looking very probable at this time. And back in April, Happy 420. Hayes argued the Bitcoin is driven off the expectations of the fiat supply growth and the Fed shift from the QT to easing would trigger a major rally. And if my analysis of the Fed's major pivot from the QT to the QE for the treasuries is correct, Amando, then the Bitcoin hit the local low of 76.5 last month, in which it did. It was roughly around that 74, 75 range, and we've been bullish ever since. And the ascent to 250 has already begun. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Arthur Hayes. Just blaze Yahtzee, mofos. That's all I'm saying. All right, fam. Now for our feature story of the day. Big news coming out of Vegas. GameStop officially confirms their first Bitcoin purchase of 4,710. BTC, the biddy's your friend. It's going up forever. That's right. This is a pretty big deal. GameStop, the U.S. video game and consumer electronics retailer, has officially confirmed its first Bitcoin investment, acquiring 4,710 Bitcoin. I like that number because, of course, 4 and a 7 is an 11. You already know. And according to the statement posted as of today, and here is the actual tweet from GameStop, making it official. GameStop has purchased 4,710 BTC. Grapevine, Texas, May 28th. Business Wire, GameStop Corp. And it basically breaks down the purchase. The company did not specify how much it paid for the Bitcoin or when exactly the purchases were made in the announcement. So it could have been a few weeks back, fam. While its Form 8K filing with the US SEC also offers very little detail. The amount purchased was worth around $513 million at the time the news was announced, so roughly a $500 million buy. Why so bearish? GameStop. That's all I'm saying. You got like $5 billion worth of capital. Put it all into the biddy. The longer you wait, the higher you pay for the prices, and at the end of the day, you will pay for the Bitcoin at the price you deserve. Just saying. The announcement acquisition is GameStop's first publicly acknowledged Bitcoin purchase since the company disclosed plans to move into a Bitcoin investment in March, and they've been teasing us, of course. And at the time, GameStop said it would fund the Bitcoin purchase through debt financing and launched $1.3 billion convertible notes offering following the Saylor put. So we all knew this was going to be inevitable and it was coming, and now they officially made the announcement. The news comes after months of speculation that GameStop was exploring alternative assets. So I guess that puts a stop to that in the rumors. GameStop stocks have shared and have climbed amid the speculation, jumping 12% in March. And then February rumors helped fuel an 18% spike in the GME stock prices. And according to TradingView, GameStop shares closed at $35 on May 27th, and we're trading at $36 in the pre-market at the time of publication. The stocks are up 30% in the past 30 days. That's an average 1% climb per day, with year-to-date gains of 10%. Not too shabby. And you can see the stock performance here via TradingView chart. Now check it. GameStop's Bitcoin investment is the latest in a trend amongst the companies purchasing the world's largest crypto, the BTC, following the lead of Michael Saylor, which made its first Bitcoin acquisition back in August of 2020. Companies such as Japan's Metaplanet and Brazil's Melius beefed up their Bitcoin holdings this year after adopting the Bitcoin treasury strategies as well. And on May 27, Trump Media and Technology Group, the company that owns this was actually yesterday's feature story. The company that owns Trump's Truth Social platform also confirmed $2.5 billion capital raised to purchase Bitcoin after previously denying reports of the deal. So we all know you can't short your dork. You can't afford that. Crypto to zero. They really thought that? Oh, hell no. Now let's check out what the High Priest, Your Holiness, Max Kaiser, has to share. As you know, he is in Vegas as well, and has a lot of insights behind the scenes of what's going on. As you can see here, El Salvador continues to buy Bitcoin. One more Bitcoin added to their strategic reserve. Never trust the IMF. Just want to throw that out there. Their new total accumulation is at 6,191 BTC. Max said in regards to what's happening, oh my God, game on. Bitcoin gives you wings. Hells yeah. This was in regard to the CEO of Rumble, who wrote, Dear Alexandre de Moraes, maybe now is the time to let Rumble back in Brazil. What do you say? That's right. What do we say? Free speech meets freedom money. Now we're talking. And let's get paid in Bitcoin on the platform, shall we? And Elon, what are we doing? When are we going to add the Bitcoin payments back for Tesla? It's been too long. And you can't taper a Ponzi scheme. Max is 100% right on that one. You sure can't. Good luck with that. And he looks like he got a beautiful piece of art right here from Jake. So shout out Jake hooking Max up with the Bitcoin bird. Bird's the word. And if you haven't figured that one out, shout out to the guys who report. Now also, you got to note Bitcoin is rock and roll as fuck. I believe this was backstage in Vegas back in 2023. And if you're not familiar with Joe Perry, he's the founder of a little band by the name of Aerosmith, and apparently he's rocking the Mr. Miyagi Danielson headband, which gets him that much more clout. El Salvador for the win, Bitcoin country, and if you don't know, now you know. In fact, I may be going to Bitcoin country to shoot some content with Max next month, so be on the lookout for that. When you don't understand Bitcoin, you do stupid shit like this. Trump will continue to Biden policy. Oh boy. Which version of Biden is that? There's like a dozen of them, all I'm saying. Spoiler alert, there is no transition from not your keys to not your Bitcoin. So don't trust these mofos because they're all saying, you can trust us. Don't worry about the self-custody or the private keys. We trust us. What a total sham. Couldn't agree more. And here's a shitcoiner alert. Kevin Kelly, put him on blast. Thank you, High Priest. Terrible idea for Canada. Trump still doesn't get how Bitcoin obviates the need for the huge military budget. And it's a fact. Bitcoin perpetuates peace and love, while fiat perpetuates war and violence. And if you don't know, maybe you learned something new today and you know. Let's continue with the uncensored version of the pod fam. Head on over to the Rumble, pinned at the top in the profile, rumble.cryptonewsalerts.net, and let's get ready to rumble.